Alrighty, 3:30 Eastern. Closing down the markets here. As always, another interesting day in the market. Double checking. Looks like the audio is okay. The audio and the visuals are good. I'm gonna actually change my display settings for everybody here. Get this a little nicer looking. There we go. While I make these quick adjustments here, if anybody has questions, please start firing them away. For those that aren't familiar, this is an open forum Q&A. I don't come with any content. I like it when you all are driving the content with your questions. I think it's a little more beneficial to you all to have your questions answered, to ask those, and we demonstrate them through the platform. As always, I will come up with some kind of content, generate something here if nobody's asking questions. But it's hard to know what you want to know about the software, want to do with the software without you all speaking up to me. So I'm just making a couple more adjustments here on these windows. There we go. That should do it. Perfect. So, oh, wow, look at that. Not too shabby. Been watching this for a little bit here. I want a different direction on a trade today. Not as nice a results, but I can't complain, I guess. So with that said, it looks like I'm talking to myself. I took some losses today. I closed some stuff out, came down right around the stops, and I just decided not to stick around for it. So it's been a flat 2 weeks for me. I had some stuff that was, it just never got out of gear, unfortunately. And on these whips down, I got hurt. And on the days up, I didn't recover quite the same. So charts are busted. Exited those trades, and it is what it is. So, you take the lumps with the good ones. So it's been an okay year for me. I can't really complain as far as that goes. There's an old saying that I try to live by now. Don't try to make up a year in December. It's been an okay year. I don't want to let anything go, so I'm probably going to really tone it down these last few weeks here, unless there's a setup that I really like. But the charts tell me there's some uncertainty in the waters right now, and while the path of least resistance I still think is up. Looking at any of these here, RSP. I still think the path of least resistance is up, but, I'm not going to jump right on anything. And, I've stated a few times before, I wouldn't mind seeing us take some big baths here on some of this. I keep an okay cash position. If we were to come down and, whoops, that's an ugly line. If we were to come down here and test this 150 area, 140 and change, I'd be happy with that, especially, having a cash position to come right back up for a march back up again. And that's, presuming that we continue with the path up. We haven't had a real big downturn in a while. So are we due for one short? Does that mean we're going to get it? I have no idea. I won't pretend to know whether that's going to happen or not. So that's that. Sorry, I got a chat coming in here. And for anybody else, start firing away questions, or I will maybe dive a little Holly, some other things. Yep. But yeah, so back to my thoughts here as far as that goes. Um, I mean, realistically, just looking at this chart, I mean, you get this explosion out of COVID. All right, a little pullback here, and then a nice grind up for that last summer into the fall, coming into this winter, and we've just been a really steady climber. We fat for months and months and months leading into the summer, and then late spring into the summer, we were flat for a little bit here. All right, we established that range. Now, I'd say we've upped that range a little bit here. You can see it. That line, we'll call it, taking a step up, and we establish this new range. Now are we establishing a range here to build off of this and moving up? I don't know. But there's nothing screaming to me. You know, the bull market's over. We take a dip below 140 on the RSP. That's a correction. All right, and we start to move down here, and then we start to see bear market territory. So that's a lot to come undone. Is it possible? Absolutely. We could do that in 2 weeks easily. Look at what we did here. We erased 4 years worth of gains right there, and in a week and a half. But my point being is that for now, I'm going to take it easy going into the end of the year here. Someone's wondering if you're using tabs in dock windows or other tabs. Yeah, they update live. The only spot I use a tab here is in this Holly here. Let me expand this out a little bit here. So I have this here. So I have the strategy window here. What the strategies are and all their metrics here. And then I have the actual trades over here on this tab. And yeah, they're all updates real time. I don't really have any other purpose. Like I said, I don't run a lot of windows during the day. I have 3 screens, and you're seeing 80% of my layout on this one screen. I mean, the only things you're missing from me right now is this that I bring over once in a while. This set of charts and strength alerts and the single stock window that's there. And I think it's a price alert. Yeah, I got the price alert. My price alerts are there too. It's just a little big because of the formatting of the screen here to get it on there. So there's that. And then I have my compare count windows here. So I really run very little during the day. And then I have a different layout when the market closes and I am scanning in the evening, or if it's early in the morning before the market opens, I have a completely different layout that I use for that. Sorry, just following along a couple of chats here. So, all right, that's that. Quick dive into Holly here. So, someone that I was speaking with yesterday, they were asking a lot of Holly questions and about, different ways to use her and stuff like that. I said, one of the big ways that I use her is what's Holly doing? Is she firing a lot of shorts? Is she firing a lot of longs? If she's firing shorts, she's getting stopped out. Is she able to hold on to those? Are they kind of laying flat? And the same questions would, I'd propose to if she was going long. Today was a pretty clear day what was going on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 7 are shorts, number one. All but, well, actually, all these shorts worked at some point. I know this got stopped out here, but I feel like that entry at 937 with the stock that has a relative volume of, I think it was like at 100 or something at that time, is a little too early to be entering any trade, but, teach their own. It ends up working out extra great, especially on the reentry here. And even the short that's not working currently, it worked really well for a while here before, turning the corner here with the market coming up and down and back and forth and wobbling on the day some after bottoming out. So that's the kind of day that it was. And it was also that led into me closing some of my trades shortly before they were getting to the stops. They all would have been stopped out anyways. So I de facto reduced risk myself, I guess we can call it. So just looking, for example, this one here, like I said, now it's become a loser in moderate profit. But If we look at this here, we got the entry signal here from Holly on this candle. And I mean, look how long we were down before we really reversed it here. I mean, and that really reversed. So again, why is it man and machine? Why do I think that being able to read some charts and have some basic knowledge of charts is much better than trying to set a bot and automate? This is why right here. What person in their right mind would call themselves a trader and have be down here and then not have closed a trade at the very worst up here, let alone let it get back to here and then to here to basically get stopped out? You know, you'd be hard pressed, as far as I'm concerned, to call yourself a trader and let something like that happen. So that's why it's man and machine. You know, the exit is not great on this. That's all there is to it. That's the bottom line. You know, the exit was here. To me, that's, that's insane. You were all the way down here. You can't let it come all the way up here. That's insane to me. These all didn't work out today. These two longs here, never really got going out the gate here. Unfortunately, you get picked off here, and yeah, there's a few minutes of some upside here and some decent upside. So if you were, catching it quickly and early enough, yes, you could have eked out a few dollars on this trade. But it wasn't, the best of timing here. The 5-minute chart even shows more what I'm trying to illustrate here is she bottom ticked it here on this candle. So you had the close of this candle, and then you had this full candle and these candles in here to have eked out a few dollars. But, that's not what you're really trying to do here on a trade like this. It just wasn't the day. And, as the market rolled over, this rolled right over with it. So it was not a day to be long for the most part. You'll find some few fair bright stars in between, MCRB being one. I was, commenting on that before, something I've been watching. Unfortunately, I didn't take that today. Hindsight trading, of course, I wish I did. ATNF, same thing. All right, these guys look good today overall, especially considering that the market is now going this way and this is closing that way. So for those that don't want to short, what do you do now? Look for stuff that's held up well in this choppy downturn. That's what you do. This made a nice move with the market up. It rolled down when the market was moving down, and it found support right here. Again, is that a happy accident? It found support there? I don't think so. Look at that right there. All right. And that will coincide with all this right here. All right. And for whatever reason, it found support and moved up from there. So definitely, some bright spots to have in the market, no doubt today. But to hammer on, back with Holly and why it's man and machine, and just no one scan or no one bot or no one anything is going to get it right all on its own. She definitely had some real blockbuster winners here. This ASO short, I mean, this is nothing short of spectacular. Easy setup, easy to borrow stock, no uptick rule throughout the entire day, no matter what. Great call. It wasn't too early. You're in your second 15-minute candle here. What is that? At 9:47. So, the market's starting to move up at this point in the day, but we had some topping tails saying, are the buyers suspect right now? And we get this short entry and just a beautiful release. And even if you didn't get it on this candle, you got a little range here, and you still got a few hours of choppy release, but release all the same down here before once again taking an upturn back on the market here. Same will go for STRO. Another entry gem for Holly here. And I mean, this one just gave you a lot of time to get in, especially a 5-minute chart illustrates this even better. I think we're looking at here all this time to get in, and just how long we're releasing for. We started to pull up and we fell back down. So this one maybe even an easier trade to manage, to be honest. Let's say we didn't get into here. All right. And we're holding, and we decide, maybe we're making an exit here, and we see this bottom out here and we start to move up, and maybe we decided, that was a good exit. All right. Maybe we exit some more here, get a little more alpha, before it turned back up again. So there's time to manage this trade, especially. I don't think this was anything jumping around too crazy. There's a bit of a spread in it, but, not every trade is going to be a 3-cent spread. So you got to consider those things. That's what trading is. So that's kind of the good, the bad, and the ugly from Holly. I mean, this long here is just terrible. That's all you can say about it. She didn't jump on it early, and she thought she was finding support here. Unfortunately, the market had something else to say to it. And found support here just below the stop, unfortunately, as it kind of flounders around with the market itself. This really kind of looks more similar to what the market's doing overall trading wise. So, is this a taped loop video? I don't believe so, unless somehow you're stuck in some loop. This should be live, Falcon. It will get recorded and put back up later. I do believe. I think that's how the algo works. As far as YouTube goes, it records unless we tell it not to, and then it'll put it back up. Sorry, just put myself on mute for a second there. And again, I see a few people coming in and out. It's been a small crowd the last few weeks with me here. So, but all the same, it's a live open Q&A forum. Okay. Well, welcome, Falcon. I do this every day at 3:30 Eastern, Monday through Friday, barring any holidays or anything like that. So it's an open forum. I keep this as an open forum with questions. I don't come with pre-prepared content. I like it when you guys are generating content, asking questions. Of course, I'll dive into some holiday recap. If you're not, nobody's asking questions, dive into some things that I was looking at. Kind of just start throwing spaghetti at the wall on building scans, messing around and playing with stuff since there's, if there's no other questions coming in, because at least that, showing things off with the software itself. So feel free, Falcon, fire away the questions. I see your question, Pamela. I'm coming right up on it. The other thing too is I don't want people to be afraid, like, oh, someone's already asking questions or he's working with someone else with something else. I will get to you. If I can't get to you, I'll tell you, give me a moment. Or if it's something I don't have the answer to, I'm not afraid to say I don't know. Email me at info@trade-ideas.com. I'm gonna get you the answer. All right. So while I know a lot about the platform, there's always something new to learn. Even someone like myself using it for as long as I have been. So Pamela already setting up Birch Plus, reviewed the 20 lessons. Didn't get clear on how to set up the risk reward percent on Brokers Plus. I'm trying to set up a sim with a risk reward, $200 loss of trade. All right, so let me bring over my Brokerage Plus window here, and let's dive into that for you. So let's connect first. Let's get connected to the simulator. All right, and we're gonna connect, and we're gonna freeze. What is going on here? Sorry, I'm having a lot of connection issues recently, but there we go. All local stuff for me. I'm not sure what's going on. I kept losing connection earlier today. All right. So when we're setting any strategy, whether it's one of these predefined ones, we want to edit one of those. And as far as the discretion here, discretion long and short discretionary, pretend those don't exist. What these are and why they're always on, they're placeholders for this right here. Discretionary short, discretionary long. That's how that works. So they can't be deleted, they can't be disabled, they can't be altered or any way. They're there and that's it. They will never, ever, 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 ever fire on their own. Um, I've had 1,000 people over the last year tell me they fired on their own, and I went back and found nope, they didn't. You fired it on yourself. So I've never in all the years of Brokerage Plus or the simulator has that ever happened, even when it was in beta. So to be clear about that. Next, if we're in here in Brokerage Plus, setting up your risk reward with any strategy, we're going to right click and we're going to go to edit trading strategy. All right. Each tab has something that we need to take care of in. So this tab, is where we set the account. The account isn't set by default. It's set to none by default always. So you have to select the account you want to be trading. For this, there's no strategy to configure because this would just be like a one-click strategy off the charts or off the alert. All right, so we don't need to configure or collaborate anything. Our entry time, this is where we set up, are we trading a symbol more than once a day? We trade it even afterwards. These are more things that are for automation, but it's just good to go through this as an exercise always to make sure we know what we're selecting here. In your order details, you're going to have your position sizing. And if I'm going too fast, tell me, hey, slow down. Or if you need me to circle back on anything, Pamela, let me know. All right. In the position sizing here on the fixed shares, all right, that's what you'll have. I'm trading 100 shares every single time I make a trade. Or you can trade fixed dollars. And you can see, watch, it says dollars here right now. Now it'll say shares. back to dollars. We select that amount. Or we can do it based on our stop loss. So the risk value based on stop loss, risk value is risking $100 per trade. Well, how do I know I'm risking $100 based on that stop loss? We come to risk management, and this is where we can set the stop loss. So right now I have none set, but you can set a percent or a dollar stop loss. We go with percent. And so I'd be risking, let's say, $100 based on a 4% stop loss. All right. We can decide if we want to target or don't want to target. If we were looking to have a hold time, we could put that in. We could put none in. That's entirely up to you, of course. And that's really the short and skinny as far as Brokerage Plus goes. To show how this would work on a chart in real time here. All right. So I've got a risk management. So let's see, I'm risking $100 based on a 4% stop loss, and that's on last price. Okay. That's don't try to be creative with these things like this. Just go with last price. Okay. We have to obey the market mechanics of the broker for this. All right. So there's no fancy things that you're going to throw in here to think you're going to trick the broker into giving you a better price. The market maker is set up so you can't do that. That's nothing to do with us. That's just sheer market mechanics. If we want to target, we could throw a target on here. So 4% loss. We'll go with a 5% target. All right. And so there's the whole strategy. I've edited it. All right. Configuration this time, make sure that it's set up to go to my simulated account. Trade idea simulated. All right. We save it. Okay. We're going to press OK. And that's there now. Now I can also set this as default chart long strategy. It's already checked there because I've done this exercise before with this. But if there wasn't a check, I checked that. Now I can use a strategy off the charts here. All right. So I just want to order details. So we're going in at a limit according to this right now. I'm going to set it up to go in at market instead. Okay. And make sure all your order entry stuff's the way you're here. If you're going in at a limit, and I'd recommend staying away from stop limits unless you're really familiar with market mechanics, because it's a two-component part that has a limit order and a stop component to it. And they're not as flexible and not as fast to cancel. With that said, if you're going in at a limit, you're going to have to set your offset, what you want to go at, what you're willing to sacrifice to get the fill. Again, all market mechanic type stuff. And I see the question about the Market Explorer. I'll jump on that right as soon as I finish this exercise here. And we'll click OK now. Now we're ready to go. I've got a market order that I can use off the charts. And we got a few minutes left here before live trading is done for the day. So you got the blue buy, red sell right there. By clicking that here, I can come click. All right, there go my orders in. All right, got my opening order. Let's see if I can get a fill. We come to the orders tab. There they are right there. All right, now it's a market order just below. So I'm going to slide this up to get that fill. I'm going to line that up with the price here. Come on, order a trigger for me. And you can see here on the daily chart where my target's going to be. Not giving me my fill. Let's cancel here. So I can cancel that right from the chart. Cancel this order by pressing delete and clicking on that. Let's try here. Trade using test. There we go. Boom, I got the fill right there off that. So as a right click, I use that to trade instead of off the chart with the buttons. So I got the fill. So what I did is I right click trade. There's my test. That's what we defaulted to use. And right off the charts, I'm in on a market order right there. All right. There's my closing order. We zoom out. There's my other closing order. So closing order north, closing order south. All right. And there we are with our fill. Everything else is right there for us. And it's share size 32 shares based on my 4% stop loss of at the last price, risking $100. So if I fall to here, and we can see my risk is clearly defined here, I'm losing $100 or making 123 if either of those get hit in between. So hopefully that's clear. If there's anything that didn't make sense in that, tell me. or if there's something you want me to recover on that, let me know. And that's not just for Pamela. If someone else has another question, let me know. And then to jump on the Market Explorer, do I utilize Market Explorer to try to string alerts? How are you using currently? Yes, I love the strength alerts. It's the one that's really the only component of the Market Explorer I'm using constantly. I check the other windows during the day a little bit. And what do I mean by windows? We right click and we come to server window. You got your 820 cross gappers, RSI divergences, long and short, bull bear flags. Here's the TI strength. That's what I mostly use. Your gap fill ups and downs and your three line strikes. I just find patterns that I like in the TI strength the best. So it plays to my strengths as a trader better than it does. Um, it plays to my strengths better as far as charting patterns than the other ones go. I do like some of the gap fill stuff. I'm just not always crazy about the prices on those stocks either, because I have prices that I like to trade within stocks. So just kind of tailored to what I like to do personally. The TI strengths work the best, and I've also noted before the scan that I use, my evening scan, that I find a lot of my swing setups. Um, that happens to have a lot of TI strength come through it too. So it feels kind of good knowing that this algorithm that Michael put together has some similarities to what I've been doing for a little over a year now on the setups that I've been looking for. And one of the big components of this is stocks that have been trending up, but are near a low of the day, actually, is one of the things that triggers to get these in. So it's, the idea is find strength with a pullback entry price, almost, more or less. So, all right. Okay, good. I'm glad you found that helpful. So I know that Brokerage Plus is one of those things that isn't always the most intuitive on its own, but it's one of those things that once you get the hold of it, then it's pretty easy to go from there. So that's why one of the reasons I like doing this Q&A in the late days, because I am one of the people that uses Brokerage Plus more than the rest. So I have a pretty decent handle on it. I don't get overly fancy with Brokerage Plus. If people throw oddball questions at me, I bust out the simulator and start testing it like that. So, but I don't do stop limits and fancy orders like that. I'm a big believer in the acronym KISS: keep it simple, stupid, and I can be stupid once in a while. So it's easier when I'm keeping things very basic for myself. Swings generated towards swing. Do you utilize intraday with this too? No, to be honest, everything I've found in here, anything I've traded in here, I have absolutely swung for at least, I'll say at least a trading session and a half, at least that much, I would say. I just, like I said, a lot of the stuff kind of comes to my eyes. Let's take a look here. This one is something I traded a bunch at the beginning of the year, and then it kind of just left my like list, and then it jumped back up in my radar a couple of weeks ago on this move here. I had that nice pullback to that EMA. I was never able to time an entry there, but boy, I like that chart still overall. And you're seeing a lot of strength in a choppy market on this right now. I believe it's at all-time highs. No, it's right off the all-time high. Sorry, I knew it was close. So you got to go way back to find that lifetime high too. Um, but yeah, I like this chart a lot still. And again, someone will say, well, what do you like about this chart so much? Well, all right, I'll tell you what I like about this chart. There's a sharp move up to here and an explosion through this resistance line that actually goes way back here. And we danced around this line for a few months, and we've come up and just kind of faded and tested this line over and over again before an explosion up on it. So we could say we've established a new range in this area here, and now we've moved up out of that range and still finding strength in a pretty choppy market right now. Anybody that knows me, I'm neither a bear nor a bull. I'm just going to read what the charts tell me, and I might be bullish today, and in 3 days I could be bearish. That fast I'll flip my script. But what I see now is we had this nice move up, we pulled back in the moving averages. We had a nice move up, we pulled back into the moving averages again. We're chopping around here, almost kind of bull flag like. So this is something that I'm going to continue to leave on my liked, and we'll see if I can time things right with what I'm in and out of and cash positions, and if I can find an entry that I like on this. I would like to see. I wouldn't mind seeing a pullback down here towards the bottom of these wicks, actually, from yesterday and today. I wouldn't mind seeing a pullback there, or even maybe a pullback into the upper 20s or lower 30s here in that range for an entry. If it just continues to march without me, it'll just continue to march without me. But I won't chase this here. Still, it's just not. I'm not ready to enter it right here. Some sideways movement for a couple days, even at this price. Let this 20 SMA catch up. That might get me in then. Just to give an idea of what I'm looking at for that specifically from the strength alerts. TPG. This is something I've been watching on. Oh, they got bought out. This is something I was watching back here. That's funny. All right, I think that's got to be a buyout, I'm guessing, or they're going private. So I guess that's irrelevant. This one I found very interesting that I saw this on here today. All things considered, this thing is whippy as heck right now. I mean, you start to ask yourself, are we going to get some calming on this? I don't know. I mean, still 75 million shares traded today, almost 17 times its normal volume. I wouldn't go jumping on this, but just I have to comment about it only because it's on the TI strength alerts. And, we've got these big explosion moves right now. Holly's involved in it. Just so much noise around the stock. You just have to wonder, is there something there? Is there not something there long term? Not my cup of tea to trade right now, but I'll tell you this. If this thing were to maybe make a slow pullback into these moving averages start to catch up and it becomes a little more orderly on the chart, then see these big topping tails. I don't like that. I don't like those. I don't like this. But if we were to get a pullback, then I would say to myself, all right, it was on the strength alerts back here. Okay, so it had a reason for that there. Holly was interested in it, regardless of that was a short. Anything Holly looks at, I look at. And now we've got something that's certainly busted out with some major volume and that is now maybe above what had been some prior resistance area here. That keeps me interested. So, these are things that I'll mark up and I'm going to, put them to the side. And yeah, if I make an entry on it, I make an entry. If not, I didn't. But I like to have what I think are narrow quality sets of alerts to look at for myself. So hopefully this is giving you a good idea of what I'm using it for and how maybe that relates to what you're doing. And again, if people have questions, please fire them away. Again, I see, a few people come in, a few people come out as far as the stream numbers go. It's open forum. So anybody with questions, fire away. And Pamela, don't be shy. If you keep firing questions. If you have them, you keep firing them. All right. And I'll keep answering them to the best of my ability. Let's take a look at some other windows in here real quick. Let's look at this. Was it gap fill? This is the gap fill I want to see. I think this is what I want. So, all right. What I'm looking at on what this scan is looking at is we've got this gap right here. Okay. All right. And this is filling it from above. All right. So you're gap filling from up above, basically. And, probably not something I'm going to trade, but the idea behind the pattern here is two things: either shorting it down into that gap where it may find support, or you might set a price alert down here at the bottom of that gap to see if it's going to find strength after it's filled that gap. Oftentimes we find the bottom of the gap can actually be support. So you might find some good ideas in that sense here and give yourself a nice setup, set a few price alerts, come across a few charts that you like in here. That would be my 2 cents on that. Let's see, Pete. Do you hold shorts overnight? No, I hardly short ever. I haven't had to short. I've only been trading for 4.5 years. There really hasn't been a market to short in, with the exception of, the nonsense of the COVID sell-off. And when I say nonsense, I mean the volatility, things like that. I'm not talking about COVID itself being nonsense. I'm just talking about that was an insane market to try to trade. I had never traded anything like that. When the financial crisis happened, I was in my early 20s and, I was just buying casual stocks I was investing in. I wasn't trading or anything like that. So, I just saw things that I liked, that I bought, back then. I wasn't trying to trade those volatile markets, and be honest, with the COVID markets, I really didn't do much trading. It was just too much for me. And knowing myself, I really didn't trade much from, I'll say, the end of February of 2020 until almost June of 2020. I really took a big backseat from trading for a few months. But holding shorts overnight, no. Like I said, I hardly short anyways. Would I possibly do it in the future? Maybe, if we ever get to a market that's sustained long enough that's going to kind of force my hand to have to short. It's possible that I would. I just, I live in the the realism that shorting has an infinite amount of losses. If a stock goes to zero, you know what I mean. A stock can fall to zero and it can't fall any further, except for oil. Apparently, that can go negative. But with the exception of oil, which we're not trading here anyways, I know what my defined loss is on the downside. Where shorting a stock, I have no idea where it could gap up to the next day and continue to go, and then I'm getting margin called. So it's just not a quiver in my arrow. Yeah, an arrow in my quiver at this time. It's not to say I haven't shorted. I've done some shorting. You know what I mean? There's been some ones that almost felt like a no-brainer short, but just not something I had to utilize. At this point, I won't say fortunately or unfortunately. It's just the way I kind of like to trade. And like I said, I began trading at a time when it's really bull market with the exception of COVID. Gap fill down. Let's see this one here. So what are you telling us here? I think this is a uranium stock, no? Nope, I'm wrong. Pharmaceuticals. Looks like uranium name. So you got this here sitting in this gap, and that's the cause for that alert. BBBY. Again, we're in the gap here on this. So unfortunately, it's finding gap, trying to fill the gap to the upside from down. Not on a great day to be finding moves like that, to be honest. This one may be a little nicer, I guess. It's not been a great market to try to find these, I guess, the last week or so. But you can kind of see the idea here that you're trying to fill these gaps up here from the downside. So who knows if something's there or not. There's a lot of resistance here on this chart, but the idea would be, let's just say for argument's sake that you didn't have all this to climb up above, and it was more of a straight shot into this gap, moving up into the $8 range, something like this. That I'm actually surprised, and I'm going to actually bother Michael in a few minutes, ask him why this is not on that scan, because this is a great gap fill looking right here, and talk about a strong day. Yeah. So I set a post-market scanner, and it's putting my way into tickers. How do we hone in to types of stocks we want to see? Say 10% high volume, upward prices in between. We could build a scanner, and I would say, Falcon, go with a top list. So what I do is how I scan at night. I'm going to bring up my main scanner for what I do, and then we can do something with what you put out for. So I just call this my evening scan one. Right click will come to configure. I know a million people have seen this. Everybody's seen this a million times for the most part, but you haven't. So I'm going to pull it out. What the scan is looking for is stocks between $4 and $30. Relative volume's got to be one. Traded at least 750,000 shares today. I want to see closing 75% above the low of today's range and 75% above the low of a 20-day range. So I want to see stuff that's breaking out over 20 days and then still showing strength today to close. There's no other fancy tricks or trades about this. And then I'm trying to find, this is going to have a bunch of bearish stuff in it. Bearish ETFs, unfortunately, because of what we got today. But what I'm trying to find is stuff, isn't exactly giving me what I want, but I'm trying to find stuff that has kind of this pattern that's trying to play out here. It's not a great example of it here, but kind of you get an idea. And then I'd love to see something where it's got that and one inside of it, or another one smaller just on the outside. And we call that a cup and handle. And so that's what I'm trying to find, either horseshoe up or cup and handles with this. Let's see if I can find one here. So, all right, this is a better example of it. All right. There's a beautiful base that we come down and made. And right there. So there's my cup. There's my handle. All right. Now I did not check this morning or yesterday. I haven't been so actively trading as I was managing some positions last few days. I would suspect that this had come through this scan in the last couple of days. Um, Gave a nice setup here, and that's what I'm looking for from that. Here's apron that happened to be on TSI alerts. Again, we've got this base in here and this here, so it's more of kind of a double horseshoe up, one breaking the other. The other thing I'd look at here is a lot of higher lows. So higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. We broke it. We're back to the trend. So that's what I'm looking at here. And breaking it right there, I give it the pass because of earnings. So things get a pass for earnings. Not always, but that's going to. So yeah, Barry's a special breed when it comes to trading, Pete. That's for sure. Okay, so Falcon, you're saying set up post market scanner. So that's what I do in post market. Sorry, and this scan's set to market hours only. I don't want this live, and I don't want to see this during the day when the market's live. I want to look at the end of the day, and I put stocks I like on my liked list. I might set price alerts of something I'm like really might be looking to jump into it the next day, and that's how I do my homework. I call it doing my homework. So when you want to set up, let's see, post market scanner. Let's see, 10% high, volume up, price in between. So, all right, we could do this as an exercise real fast. And here, I'll share that for anybody that doesn't have it already. The My Evening Scan 1. I'm going to share that here. So, copy, share, post, paste. So if anybody's interested in that scan, there you go. Make it yours. Do what you like with it. Now for you, Falcon, I'll go new top list. Sorry, my menu bar's on another screen. All right, so there we go. There's a top list. There's new window specific filters. Whenever I build a new scan, I just come right to the window specific filters and I get rid of this stuff here because I have a preset in a sense from things that I use for the columns. That basically what I want for columns is always already here anyways. If you come to the beginning here and you go to start from scratch, you'll lose these columns that are already here, price and some things like that. And you got to go through and add them individually. And while I'll harp on anybody for being lazy, why would I erase data that I already have that I want anyways? So that's why I don't start from scratch. I come with a Windows specific filter and just take 2 seconds to erase what was in there. So you're saying you want 50 cents, right? $5. All right. So there's a minimum, maximum. Say 10% high, volume up. Well, what kind of volume time frame are we looking at here? Are we looking at a relative volume? Are we looking at a 1 minute, 5 minute, 30-minute volume there, Falcon? There's a bunch of stuff we can do with volume here. So OLUME. All right, we'll expand this out so we can get a more comprehensive looking list here. And if you want to go 1 minute volume on a top list, I'll have to either walk you through how to put a custom in, or I can put it into your account. You'll just have to email me at info@trade-ideas.com. So, all right, info@trade-ideas.com. Because the 1 minute volume is only in alert windows by default because top lists update every 30 seconds. So I think the smallest time frame by default in a top list is going to be 5 minutes. Is there a way for me to get you 1 minute volume the second? You can email me. Yeah, if you can email me at what I just shared there, and I'll get that to you in a few minutes here. I'll just stick it in your cloud. But so if we want 1 minute volume, I've got it set up already for myself in my cloud. All right, so I add that filter. And so now it works on a percent basis, meaning 100 is going to be normal. 1,000 would be 10 times. So 500 would be 5 times. And that's based on 1 minute time frame averaged out over 10 days. All right, so that's where the average is going to come in. So you're saying, let's see, if you want to see 10x on that volume, all right, so there, we put it at 1,000. That's 10 times, normal volume there. You want to see that it's up for the day. So if we want to see up for the day, we go with the change from close and minimum. So put a zero in there, meaning that's got to be up from yesterday's close. You can even go with a change from open if you want to too. Search change from the open. I like to work in percents. You could always do it in dollars. We have them in both for both close and open, percents and dollars. We're going to add that filter. All right. Now, because the market's closed, this isn't going to return us, intraday action here, but we can go back in time frames. If there's anything else that you want to add to it, we can, there's a lot of stuff to search from here that we can put in here. All right. As far as filters go, whole lot of filters. That's, for you to go through if you want. But essentially, what this will say is that I'm looking at stocks between 50 cents and $5. It's got to be up from the close and up from the open, and it has to have been doing 10 times its normal 1 minute volume. All right. Not too vague. I don't do a lot of intraday trading. On the few instances that I do intraday trading, it'll be off my liked list, stuff that looks strong. I'll go through and maybe set a price alert or two on things that look strong that I've had my eye on anyways. And if it's got enough volume for me to be interested in intraday trade on it, I look at Barry's unusual options volume scanner as well. I have his Barry's watch list here, but I don't look at that as much as I look at these two up here. What I do prefer to swing things if I can. What I really like is when I enter a position and makes a nice intraday move, and I can take, let's just use for example numbers. I get 100 shares of stock X, Y, Z, whatever it is, and it makes a nice big move relative to what I'm looking for it to do, and I can take out 30 shares, during that day, sometime during that day, and swing the other 70 shares. I'm just using those as example numbers, by the way. But that's what I would say to you here, Falcon. I mean, I can send this over to you as a template for the day, although you don't have the 1 minute volume yet. Sharing this will not. This is what I'm going to do. Up for the day, 10x 1 minute volume. I'm going to save this like this. And then, Falcon, you're going to email me so that I can put the 1 minute filter in your top list. And then I can get this to you that way. And we can see here, in live action here, it's, not a whole lot's happening in the scan right now. That's making a move. I don't think that's got anything. And this was very active today. And we'll see it'll update in real time. Of course, we can see what it did at the close, right click, time figure, and live during market hours. And now it's going to show me what happened, at the close. And so we get a return of stocks like this, and maybe, back to doing homework, we take a look at these things here and we say, all right, let's look and see how if any of these interest me coming into tomorrow. I don't like this. It's going to bump it right into the 20 moving average there, or, EPFA. This is Argentina. This is, so beaten up. Maybe I think it's got a bounce play with oil in it here because oil's been getting slaughtered for the last week, things like that. All right, perfect, Falcon. I will got you here. All right, just making a note on that email here. So, because there's other people that see that email. So, all right, perfect. I got that. Give me a few moments. I'll jump in there and I'll do that. And then, one other thing, anybody that's interested in customs, when I say custom formulas, I don't want anybody to be confused and think, oh, I can just write a script for whatever moving averages I want. Our customs come from existing pieces of code within the system already. If it doesn't exist in the system, you can't use it. So, for example, we don't have EMAs currently. Yes, we should have EMAs. No, we don't. But if you're interested in customs and how they work, this is a really short video. go over that. That it's pretty clear. You don't need to be a math wizard. You don't need to be a code writer or formula writer or anything like that. You're taking existing pieces of short code that we've put the abbreviations on and putting them together essentially. So in that video, it'll go over some stuff for you there. So I'm going to get rid of that, and I'll email you that template in a little bit here. With once I put that in there, Falcon, I'll email you saying that that's in for you, and that I'll email you that template that I just made that's there. What is it? It's what I look to do is take some profit along the way. Yeah, that's exactly, that everybody's got a different, strategy or whatever that they're doing, whether it's time frames or profit targets or combination thereof. But you got to have a trading plan. You can't just throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. You can't just enter a trade and say, all right, I'll figure it out as I go along, because that's a losing strategy. I don't care how good a scanner is or how good the software is or anything like that. Let's move these windows back around. TI strength. Symbol linking red. Sorry, I'm just setting this back up over on another screen. The TI strength. Bring this back down. So, all right, I think that covers those items here. And it was something that I mentioned, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before. I guess it had to be yesterday. Today's Tuesday, right? I think Topless are a great tool for pre and post market scanning, especially if you are trying to find setups going into the day, where alert windows, I think, are a little more conducive for the intraday, because you have that time stamped event, that time stamped alert saying, hey, this stock did this at this exact second. Where this is, going to return you, these stocks are meeting these specific filter criteria, and a better way to monitor things moving like that. So, that's what I do with this list here. I'll go through this today. Wow, Aerie got absolutely smashed after that big run up. Oof, that is ugly. Easy come, easy go. But that's, it's the way that I use this platform and had the most success with trade ideas, is that, I'm looking at narrow data sets. I want to curate the data that's coming into me based on things that I like, and I'm going to pull it off real fast. I'm going to add it real fast. When we shut down this live stream, I'll probably take a half an hour break or something, because I've been going at this since 5 o'clock this morning. And then I'll come back and I'll put up a layout that I use in my evening scan layout, and I'll go through, all the stuff that's on my liked and see what's staying on there, what's coming off of it. I'll go through my evening scan. I'll see if there's anything I'm going to add. I'll go through the strength alerts list, and I'll see if there's anything that I'm going to add from there. And those are the main things that I'm looking at there, as far as curating that data that's coming to me. Something like Area, I've been watching for a long time. I've traded a few times, some winners, some losers on it, but I've been watching it since back here, just before it popped its head over this pivot line, coming into the gap. All right. And, I did not get any of that big move, but, I'm going to still watch it. I thought to myself, all right, well, it made a big move. If we pull back in the moving averages and there's some strength, well, it did, but then the market got a little wobbly. And I didn't like that with that setup. And, well, usually hindsight trading is me crying in my soup because I should have taken a trade. This is hindsight trading saying, good job not taking that trade. Although I would be remiss not to mention that this came down and basically tagged this line here. That has to do with that right there and all through there. Once again, showing the significance of a pivot line. Yes, that's a whoopsie. But anybody that knows me knows pivot lines are not exacts. They're approximations. So this might be something that stays on the list, even with it getting, absolutely slugged for the last, I guess, month now. That doesn't mean that I've lost interest in it, and that, this original idea of this gap fill isn't here. It filled it once. Can it hold here and now fill it again? Possible. So we got a couple of minutes here. If anybody has any questions, fire them away while you got me for a few more minutes here. If not, let's see. Sorry, just a couple things catching up here. So, we talk about finding strength in this down market. So, we could do an exercise real fast. How do we find strength? It doesn't even take that much effort. Let's just put a price range in here. We'll go $8 to $500 on these stocks. Let's look at the change from close. Let's see stocks that are up. Let's see stocks that are up and the change from open. Let's look at the volume today. Let's try to see. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. We traded at least 1 million shares today. Let's just start there and see what we got returning to us. Let's sort. We're sorting on change from close percent. Up on the down day. We'll call this real fast. So really, really simple what I just did there. All right. We're looking at stocks in between $8 and $500. It's got to be up from the close and up from the open and traded 1 million shares today. And let's just see what that returns to us. Let's bring this over and let's sort. And let's set the record count to 500 just for fun, just make sure we're getting a good set of data coming in. So look how much stuff was up today, even with the market getting smacked around like that. All right. So a lot of relative strength going into tomorrow on some of these stocks, I would say. Are all of them going to be up tomorrow? No, they're not. Are a good majority of these going to be up tomorrow? I have no idea. But we certainly could put things in our favor. So, GRTS. Sorry, I want to go with live always. Excuse me, live during market hours only. That's better. So GRTS, now we can see this thing's still going in the after hours and it's got solid volume into it. But, got to say, my favorite pattern. All right. Getting over this pivot line. This might be something to watch now. All right. This is going to jump back at us again. MCRB, another one. Let's look at something we haven't seen. Zen, was that Zendesk, right? Yeah, so Zendesk, let's take a look. All right, we got something that's beaten up. Got a gap above it. Nice big update today. If we clear that range, got a nice gap up to that 120 region. So maybe this is something, we see sideways for a few days here. That would be nice. And then see it try to clear up into that gap. All right. So something that's with some strength on a down day. Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm a little bit surprised. That's quite a few stocks today that are up. And they all traded 1 million shares today. So this isn't some liquid nonsense we're looking at. They're going private. That doesn't count. There's going to be things like that on this list. All right, here's another one. Some of these, they're beaten up right now. They're fine, but they're finding strength in these down days. And we can even do this, find a little more strength. Let's configure window specific filter. Position. Let's go with position in 10-day range. Add that filter. Let's try to find things that are 30% above the 10-day range. Let's add that filter in. I'll tighten that list up a bit there. All right. So, RVNC. All right. We're up off the bottom of that 10-day range. All right. Nice gap to look at there. Nice and healthy on a beat up day in the market. Sorry, I want to change the symbol linking because it's screwing with my SPY chart over here. I just want to make sure that I'm referencing things that have strength relative to what the market did. What do I mean by that? Well, look at how that closed and look at how the S&P closed or the SPY closed today. SPY faded right into the rest of the day. was grinding its way up for the rest of the day. All right. So that was strong relative to the market. All right. Let's see. SCO. Nope. Your virus plays are all back into play. All right. Some nice strength on that one. Making some really nice moves off this range here, right there, off this break. So, we're finding some decent ideas here. There's a TI strength alert. Beautiful move. Now we're running into resistance here, but if we can get through that resistance, 49's on deck. The count filter, sure. So one last look, ABCL, another one here. Have we bottomed out? Are we finding strength? For past earnings, we made an earnings move up. We've pulled back, trying to make another march back up. The count is essentially the actual alert itself. So for example, configure, selected alerts, new high is the alert. So every time a new high is made, even if these filters aren't met, it gets counted. And that's how that works. So essentially what I could use with the count filter saying, all right, new high is the catalyst to get the alert, but I don't want to see the first, second, third, or fourth new high. I want to see the fifth new high on the day. And then the other filters met. And so that means I'd put a 5 for a minimum in the count. Or you could just have the count as a column, and that shows, relative strength on the day essentially. So like if I were to, let's close this. Let's duplicate this here so we don't lose the window. Oh, no, it has counts. All right. Whoops. So we can see here when these triggered, all right, each one of these, that's how many new highs they had made on the day. So LTAHM had made 18 new highs on the day. By the time it had triggered, 73, 34, 28, 38, 25. So it's another momentum indicator saying, wow, this has made that many new highs on the day. This thing's got some gusto behind it, especially, all right, this has made 73 new highs on the day. And here I'm getting the alert at this price. And we can see that was worked out. I don't think LTHM did. Usually that goes with the market. Countered the market at the end, but still very down for the day. But the idea, the precipice is still there for it. So same thing here. This had made that many new highs, 38 new highs on the day before it made that trigger. All right. So, it opened here, and every new high it made along the way on those 3 candles, those 3 15-minute candles counted. Before that trigger came in. So, we see the price triggers at 620. We got an open here down this 574-ish, give or take. 575 is the open. All right. So that coincides perfectly with what we're seeing there. Is it affected by the don't repeat? Well, the don't repeat will stop an alert from coming in multiple times, but not the count. So I have don't repeat on this. I don't want to see a stock more than once on here for the day. So the don't repeat and this are just two separate functions are all. And what do I mean by don't repeat for those that don't know? If we right click, we come to properties and we see don't repeat here. All right. And we click that. I can set it, first make sure it's checked. Don't repeat for, a day, an hour, 30 minutes, 1 minute, so on and so forth. Sometimes you have an alert window that's going to put the same, same stock in it, probably 15 times in a minute. And you don't need to see the same stock 15 times in a minute. You got the picture. You want to slow down that window essentially. So that's what the don't repeat would be for. So, all right, everybody, 4:35. I'm going to wrap it up for the day here. Dan, Pamela, Falcon, appreciate, the questions, the comments, the interactions. Pete, you as well. Thank you all for joining. Anybody that's in here, whether it's your first time in here, or your 30th time in here, I keep it every day, Monday through Friday, 3:30 Eastern. I start this up. It's a live open forum. Come with your questions. Don't be shy. Fire them away. I don't care if 30 people ask a question. I'm going to get to everybody at some point, some way, somehow. This stream opens up every single day at 9 o'clock. Barry opens this at 9 o'clock. He gets live on the mic at 9:05. These are all Eastern times. He'll run the room until 12 noon on the YouTube side. He gives up for an hour. The stream, Jamie, Steve, Andy, Michael, and Sean all rotate Monday through Friday. So tomorrow will be Wednesday. That'll be Steve tomorrow at noon to 1 Eastern. Barry will then take the stream back at 1, shut down at 3, and I will open this back up at 3:30 again tomorrow. So, every day trying to get you as much live content as I can. We talk a little charts, we talk some scans, we talk some trading, we talk some trading plan. Nothing's off the table. I might not have the answers for everything, but nothing's off the table. So, all right. I thank you all again very, very much. And excellent. I'm glad, Pamela. Thank you. I look forward to seeing you in here, moving forward daily. And again, thanks, everybody. We'll catch you tomorrow. Have a great, wonderful rest of your Tuesday. Bye bye.